Welcome back to the Manifestation Method, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science, and where we bridge the mystical with the practical to help you manifest a life that feels deeply aligned, authentic, and alive. I'm your host, Ayelet Polonsky, and I'm so honored to be here with you today because today we're diving into a topic that I just know so many of you have been curious about, have been asking me so many questions about, and that is the intersection of neuroscience and manifestation. Because while so many of us have felt the truth of manifestation on a soul level and on spirit level, sometimes the mind needs a little bit more grounding, or we should say a little bit more proof. And here's the beautiful thing. The proof is really starting to emerge in the world of brain science. So what if I told you that visualization, affirmations, and intention setting aren't just spiritual rituals, but actually rewiring your neural pathways? What if I told you that your thoughts don't just float into the ether, but physically change your brain's structure and function? In today's episode, we'll explore how the brain processes desire, what's happening inside your nervous system when you're manifesting, and how tuning your inner state can literally shape your outer reality. So whether you're someone who journals under the moon or someone who needs a bit more data and dopamine, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Becoming a co-creator with the creator is your birthright. Together, we'll journey into your deepest authenticity. Because the more you align with who you truly are, the more effortlessly you call in the life that you desire and deserve. And most importantly, the more you step into your soul's highest purpose. Welcome to the Manifestation Method podcast, your number one source for Kabbalistic manifestation. Here we combine the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah, modern psychology, and quantum physics to help you achieve real, tangible manifestation results with my proven Abra method. I'm Ayelet Polonsky, and I'm here to guide you on your journey of manifesting a life that is aligned, expansive, and deeply connected to your highest self through the sacred energetic mechanics of Kabbalistic manifestation. To learn how to use Kabbalistic manifestation to transform your life from the inside out, go to ayeletpolonsky.com or download the Manifestation Method app. Let's open the gates of manifestation together. You know, manifestation often gets brushed off as woo-woo. Like it's some airy-fairy magical thinking with no real-world basis. But neuroscience is beginning to tell a very different story. One of the leading voices bridging this gap is Dr. James Doty, a neurosurgeon at Stanford University and founder of the Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education. He's been diving deep into how our thoughts, intentions, and emotions actually shape our brain and our reality. One of the most fascinating areas of his work involves something called the default mode network, or the DMN. And this is a collection of brain regions that light up when we're not actively focused on the outside world. So in other words, when you're daydreaming, visualizing, journaling, meditating, or even just reflecting on who you are and what you want, your DMN, default mode network, is switched on. And why does this matter? Because the DMN is involved in constructing your internal narrative, or the story you believe about yourself, your potential, and what's possible for your life. And here's the kicker. The inner story of what your subconscious uses to filter reality. It's how your brain decides what to focus on, what to expect, and, you guessed it, what to create. So when you visualize your goals, when you imagine your future self in vivid detail, speaking that TED Talk, feeling love in a sacred partnership, walking through your dream home, or creating financial abundance, you're not just fantasizing. You are actively rewiring your neural circuitry. You are embedding your desires into your subconscious blueprint. And the brain itself, being the incredibly adaptive system that it is, starts organizing your thoughts, decisions, emotions, and even your perception in a way that begins to align with that new reality. So in other words, your imagination is rehearsal, and rehearsal is power. It's not magic, it's not woo-woo. It's mental sculpting. It's shifting your identity from the inside out. So while it may feel really mystical at times, and in many ways it really, really is, it's also deeply biological. Your brain literally becomes a magnet for what you consistently and emotionally focus on. But here's the key. It's not just about daydreaming on the couch and hoping that the universe delivers. While activating the default mode network through visualization and reflection is a powerful first step, it's only half of the full picture. In order to actually bring our desires into form, we must bridge the gap between intention and action. And that's where another set of brain systems come in. So here enters the task positive network, also known as the brain's get it done mode. And the task positive network is responsible for focused attention, goal directed behavior, planning, and execution. And when we engage this get it done mode, we're telling our brain, this matters. This isn't just a fleeting wish. This is a priority. And when we treat our dreams like a priority, our brain starts to organize our perception, our memory, and decision making around that very goal. So Dr. James Doty emphasizes the importance of not just imagining, but concretizing your intentions. And that means, bottom line, A, writing them down. Why is that? Because writing moves your dreams from the abstract to the tangible. This physical act of putting pen to paper actually sends a signal to your brain saying, this is real, this is important. And then it gives your brain what to focus on. The next thing is read them out loud. Speaking outside of all the abracadabra I create as I speak that I talk about all the time, speaking also activates your auditory and language centers, which reinforces your intentions through sound and repetition. So what you're literally doing is you're training your brain to recognize these desires as familiar, as already part of your 3D reality. And then finally, visualizing them vividly, but not just as a vague, I want love or I want abundance. No, here is where you get specific. It's where you hone in on what your desire looks like in vivid detail. What does that vision feel like in my body? Who are you with in that vivid, detailed image? What are you wearing? What is the emotional texture you're feeling in that moment? This kind of immersive, sensory-rich visualization lights up multiple areas of the brain at once. It lights up the motor cortex, the sensory cortex, the emotional centers, and that full body rehearsal creates neural congruence. So in layman terms, it's when your brain begins to experience your vision as already happening. And when your body believes that it's real, your actions will start to follow. So think of it kind of like building a mental GPS, right? You set the coordinates through intention. You turn on the engine with emotion, and you steer the vehicle through aligned action. This is the intersection where manifestation becomes embodied. It's no longer just a spiritual practice, though it is absolutely that too, but it's a biological process rooted in focus, repetition, and emotional resonance. And the best part is that the more you engage both the default mode network through imagination and self-reflection, as well as the task positive network through action and attention, the more your inner and outer worlds begin to align. And that's where the real magic happens. Not from the hustle, not from just hope alone, but from embodied alignment, where your mind, body, and soul begin moving as one. Now, we can't talk about neuroscience without understanding the role of the nervous system in manifestation, because here's a game-changing truth that many miss on their manifestation journey. And that is that your nervous system is the gateway to your reality. It does not matter how many affirmations you say or how many vision boards you create or how many books you read on the topic. If your body is locked in survival mode, your energy will speak louder than your words. When we're anxious, overwhelmed, or stressed, the sympathetic nervous system, or our body's fight or flight mechanism, takes over. And that's not a bad thing on its own, right? We're all human beings having a very human experience, so let's just normalize that. It's designed to keep us safe when real danger is present. But the problem is, many of us are living in a chronic state of stress, whether we realize it or not. And in this state, our body is on high alert. We're constantly scanning for threats. We're thinking in short-term survival mode. And so what does this do to our manifestation practice? Well, it actually narrows our vision. It clouds our creativity. And it disconnects us from our intuition. So in short, it puts us in a frequency of fear, not faith. And according to Dr. James Doty and other leading neuroscientists, the key to shifting this is learning how to regulate the nervous system. I mean, this is something I talk about in so many of my podcasts, right? Because when we shift into the parasympathetic state, otherwise known as the rest and digest mode, we open the door to possibility. It allows our breath to soften, to slow down, our minds to clear, our hearts to become coherent. And in that state, our energy field expands, right? And yes, while this is a more scientifically based podcast, right? When our energy field expands, everything is energy. We allow more of that energetic abundance to flow, to come in. And it's in this relaxed state that we're not trying to control or grasp, right? It's in that state that we're more receptive, aligned, available. We become better magnets for the very things that we're calling in. So some practical, simple practices that you can start implementing into your day-to-day to start activating these parts of the brain and the nervous system is deep diaphragmatic breathing, which activates the vagus nerve and it signals safety to the brain. Also, mindful meditation, like bringing awareness back to the present moment. Implementing gentle movement into your day, even if it's just 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, doing some yoga, putting on some fun dance music and moving your body, taking a walk in nature. It's something that I really try to do when the weather is nice every single day, is walk to my local river and just let the color green heal my soul, right? All of these things regulates stored stress. There's also self-soothing touch, right? Like placing one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and simply repeating to yourself, I am safe here. And these practices are not just all spiritual rituals. They are neurological recalibrations. They shift your chemistry, your perception, and your ability to hold the vision of what's possible. In fact, just now when I told you guys to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and I gave you the prompt of I am safe here, I instantly felt a shift in my nervous system. Instantly. I invite you to practice this with me, right? Because manifestation is not just about what you're thinking, although a lot of people think it's just about thinking positive thoughts. No, it's so much deeper. There's so much more to the iceberg than what you see at the surface, right? It's about the state that you're thinking from. When your body feels safe, your energy becomes magnetic. When your breath slows, your vision expands. And when your nervous system is regulated, your soul can speak and receive. This is the foundation of aligned manifestation. Not pushing, but opening. Not chasing, but allowing. Not overriding your body, but partnering with it. So the next time you sit down to visualize, set an intention, or script your dream life, start with a breath. Not because it's trendy, but because it's biology. Now, let's move into talking about one of my favorite topics, although all these topics are really my favorite, let's be honest. But this topic is one of the secret sauces that I implement when I work with my private clients, and that is visualization. So the neuroscience of visualization is both fascinating and powerful, and it's one of the key scientific bridges between modern brain research and manifestation practices. So let's break it down. One of the most profound discoveries in neuroscience is that the brain often doesn't distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. Okay, that's really important. When you visualize something in detail, whether it's you seeing in your mind's eye, seeing yourself giving over a speech, or crossing the finish line, or getting that gold medal, or receiving that check, your brain lights up the same neural networks as if you were actually doing it. This is called functional equivalence. So think of it like a mental rehearsal. You're training your brain to become familiar with this new reality. And studies have shown that athletes who visualize their routines activate the motor cortex just as they would if they were physically performing it. Same goes with musicians who have visualized themselves performing a piece on the piano. Those who visualized it versus those who didn't performed 10 times better than the ones who did not visualize themselves performing the piece in advance. So when you visualize your dream life, you're not just imagining it. You're programming your brain to believe it's possible, right? And there's a small part of your brainstem called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. And its job is to act like a filter. So out of the millions of bits of information that you encounter daily, the reticular activating system helps decide what gets your attention based on what you believe is important. Because let's face it, we can't take in all those billions, millions of bits of information every single moment. And when you visualize a goal and you hyper focus, right? I talk about the manifestation tightrope. You see yourself on that tightrope and you see your desire on the other side of that tightrope with detail. You're telling your RAS that this matters. So pay attention to anything that brings me closer to this. It's the same part of the brain that when you're in the market for a new car and your interest is in a white Honda, all of a sudden you start to see white Hondas everywhere, right? Suddenly what happens is once the RAS is activated, opportunities, people, and ideas that align with your vision stand out more because your brain is literally attuned to notice them. Not only that, but visualization also taps into neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. So every time you repeat a visualization, you see it in vivid detail, you feel it emotionally taken over your body. What you're doing is you're strengthening those neural pathways. You're rehearsing the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of your future self. So over time, your brain starts to default to this new identity. And this is how our beliefs, our identity begins to shift. You can literally become a new version of you using these practices. Right? And this is how manifestation becomes not just a spiritual process, but a neurological transformation. Right? Change is possible if you implement these tools. Right? Now, it's important to note the importance of emotion because our emotion is what supercharges our visualization. Right? It's our emotions that act as the glue that binds your vision to your subconscious. When you combine visualization with emotionally rich states like joy, gratitude, excitement, confidence, you deepen the imprint. So your subconscious begins to believe this isn't just possible, it's real. You know, as Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it, he says, when you feel as if your future has already happened, you're rewiring your brain and conditioning your body to a new mind. So when it comes to visualization, to sum this up, visualization equals mental rehearsal. You're training your brain and body to recognize and create your desired reality. And the brain responds to imagination like it's real. Right? This makes visualization a potent tool for behavior change, for belief reprogramming, for shifting into a new identity, if that's what you want. Right? Also, the reticular activation system makes you more receptive to opportunities. It acts as the internal filter that starts magnetizing experiences that align with what it is you're focusing on. And neuroplasticity means you're literally rewiring yourself. You're becoming the version of you who naturally thinks, feels, and acts from your highest self. So, how can we actually start to apply this knowledge here and now? Because I always like to leave you with some practical steps that you can start using immediately. So write these down. Step 1, put your intentions on paper. Write it down. This simple act engages multiple senses and reinforces your goals in the brain. Step 2, visualize vividly. So spend time each day, even if it's just 5 minutes, imagining your desired outcome in detail, engaging the DMN, the default mode network. 3, affirm your desire out loud. Speaking your intentions activates auditory processing and further embeds them into your subconscious. And lastly, practice mindfulness, not just to manifest your desires, but also because it's just really good for you, right? Regular meditation or deep breathing exercises can calm the nervous system, making your brain more receptive to positive change and overall feeling good. Okay. So, if this episode resonated with you, if it sparked something in your heart, opened a new perspective in your mind, or simply reminded you of the power that you hold and how powerful your brain and nervous systems are, please share it with someone you love. A friend, a partner, a family member, someone who's ready to remember that they are the co-creator of their reality. When we share these conversations, we don't just spread information, we ignite transformation. One spark of alignment has the power to light up an entire community. So go ahead and forward this episode, post it to your story, or drop it in a text. Let's ripple this wisdom outward and anchor the truth that manifestation is not just magic. It's measurable, it's intentional, and it's deeply spiritual. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Manifestation Method. I'm so honored to walk this path with you. Until next time, stay grounded in trust, aligned with your vision, and open to receive miracles. Keep showing up as the version of you who already has it, because that's when the universe has no choice but to meet you there. With so much love, here's to your rising. If you enjoyed this episode, let's keep the conversation going inside the Manifestation Method Portal app, your #1 destination for Kabbalistic manifestation. Inside, you'll unlock the secrets of manifestation through my proven Abra method, rooted in Kabbalah, psychology, and quantum physics, designed to help you manifest real, tangible results from the inside out. Join our global community of manifestors, explore our signature courses, monthly live manifestation workshops with me, Ayelet, and access our transformational hypno activations and attunements to rewire limiting beliefs and align with your soul's purpose. The app is available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To sign up, head over to ayeletpolonsky.com. Becoming a co-creator with the Creator is your birthright. Let's manifest the life you desire and deserve together.